احتفاءً بأصحاب الهمم واستلهامًا لإرادتهم وعزيمتهم وقدراتهم يلي بتحقق المستحيل. رح نشوف 4 حلقات جديدة ضمن السلسلة الوثائقية بسنتها الثانية بتكليف وإنتاج مجموعة أبو ظبي للثقافة والفنون يلي بتسلط الضوء على أصحاب الهمم، أصحاب التجارب والإنجازات الملهمة بالمجالات المهنية المختلفة، وبتحتفي بتميزهم بالصحافة والموسيقى والرياضة والكتابة وأدب الرحلات. Hello, we are incredibly honored of welcoming Tony Giles from the UK, a 45-year-old that despite was born with rare genetic visual impairment and lost his hearing. But Tony is having a lot to say about his adventure, about his traveling. We are really honored of welcoming him. Who inspired you to go and visit around 135 countries despite everything you are facing?
Um, my dad was in the Merchant Navy before I was born, and he told me about his adventures, um, traveling up the St. Lawrence River in Canada and icebergs floating down the ship's sides. And he told me about a journey he did from east coast to west coast in Australia by steam chain, and it taking 8 and 9 days. And as a 5, 6, 7-year-old, I was really fascinated by these adventures. So it was his initial stories. And then when I was 10 years old, I went to a boarding school for blind and visually impaired children,
Yes.
400 kilometers from my home. And that was an extra inspiration to travel. And then one thing kind of led to another. I got to go to America with a school when I was 16, and then I studied there. So it was just, yeah, one footstep after another, really.
Tony, if I'm asking you about the experiences and the adventures you have, where 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 did you have the most, like, something unexpected traveling?
I went to New Zealand for 3 months when I was 22, and I basically spent 3 months on a bus going around these two large, amazing islands and hearing the nature, walking in the mountains and the forests. And people ask me, why did a blind person want to see a country?
Yes.
I tell them I use all my senses to see a country, the smells, the sounds. And I met people, and I found people friendly and helped me want to do things like bungee jump or skydive or kayak. And I just found it an amazing experience. And I tell people that New Zealand's my favorite country.
Yes.
Where I want to live.
And how do you communicate with the people there, in the countries there? Many languages and many cultures.
I try and learn a few words of the language of each country I go to. I make sure I can say please, thank you, water, toilet. And then I try and find people on the internet I can stay with who speak some English. And also, if I get stuck when I'm traveling on the street, I will find someone who can find someone else who speaks a bit of English. And my girlfriend and I went to Japan, and we walked into a restaurant, and the waitress didn't speak any English. So we sort of thought, oh, what do we do? And then 5 minutes later, the waitress came back with a phone, and she gave it to me, and I said, hello. And this lady said, I speak English. Tell me what you want to eat. I will tell the waitress. I will tell you how much.
Yeah.
And it worked like clockwork.
Oh, so it was helpful. People
Yeah.
are helping in all the countries. What are the tools you are using?
So I use a laptop with a screen reading software. So every time I press a key, it speaks to me. So I can use the arrow key to navigate the internet. And you meet people, you talk to people.
Yeah.
I've had to ask questions all my life because I can't see. Can you help me cross the road? When I'm in school, what's on the whiteboard? So I learned to communicate from a very young age.
Yes.
So it's staying in a hostel, it's young people, like-minded backpackers. I say, oh, hi, my name's Tony. Where are you from? What are you doing today? Oh, can I join you? And I meet people and I make friends, and they get to understand how I travel and I see the world through my senses and touching buildings. And
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
I get to know them and their culture. So it's like an exchange. And I do the same with local people.
You inspired me, and you inspired a lot of people around the world. You have 3 ebooks.
Yes.
And about writing and saying everything about your adventures.
Yeah.
Tell me about the ebooks.
So I have 3 books. The first one's called Seeing the World My Way. The second one's Seeing the Americas My Way. And the third one sing a slice of Southern Africa my way.
Yes.
And it was my mum's idea to write a book, for me to write a book. I'd been traveling for about 14 months straight, Southern Africa, Southern America.
Yes.
And I came home and she said, oh, write a book so everyone can see what you do. And so eventually I sat down and I just typed everything on my laptop, everything that happened in my life, all the good things, the bad things, the ugly things. And eventually it came into sort of 2.5 books, and managed to find a small publisher, published the first one in print for about 4 years. And did reasonably well, but they didn't want to republish it. So I decided I'd do them as ebooks to inspire people and to show them that they can live their lives and their dreams, whether they're physically disabled, mentally disabled, emotional problem, whatever. And the idea is just to have a go at something. I'm not telling people they have to travel all around the world and do crazy things, but just to try what their dreams. And that's the idea.
And Tony, how can we find the Tony Giles ebooks? How can we find them?
So all my ebooks are available on the usual ebook Kindle websites, Google, Amazon, etc. And people can also go to my website to find information. It's tonythetraveler.com.
Okay.
And I'm also on Facebook and YouTube.
Tony, what's your advice for the people having the disabilities and they would love to have this experience and the adventure of traveling?
First of all, decide where you want to go, whether it be somewhere near you, a city, a town, a different country. Do your research. Find out as much information as you can. I research the city or the country I want to go to, write down all the information into a Word document. I put it on a portable machine I can listen to.
Yes.
Find out how to get from the airport to your accommodation, whether you use public transport, taxi, find out currency, the weather, etc. And then find out how you can meet up with local people or guided tours. I started off by going to countries where I understood the infrastructure, like America and Australia. I could speak the language, so I was fairly comfortable in my surroundings. And then once I felt really comfortable, I went to countries like Vietnam and Thailand where there was no infrastructure. So I just said, do that. Go to somewhere you might feel familiar with, or go with a friend or your family member and try it. And if you like it, maybe go further. And have fun. That's the most important thing, have fun.
Tony, we have the opportunity, we've been featured on BBC, at the BBC in the show.
Yeah.
It's a travel show.
Yes.
How did you get this opportunity?
It's kind of by accident. I guess they were looking for disabled people who were traveling, and they discovered my website and then contacted me back in 2017, and I was in Jordan at the time, and they said, oh, we'd like to come and film you.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did in Palestine, and then 2 years later they did another documentary in Ethiopia, which is a country I'd been to before, so I was reasonably comfortable in Ethiopia, which is an amazing country.
Yes.
So yeah, that's how it happened.
You have visited almost 134 countries.
Yes.
What's Tony Giles' plan now? What's the target? What's the new target for you?
My target is to visit every UN country in the world, which is 193, and then continue traveling to every country, whether they are classed as a country or not. So Kosovo, Western Sahara is not recognized as a country, and I want to visit every place, every island, every territory.
And now we are here in the UAE. You've been in the UAE and then the Gulf many times, and all the countries. Now you're going back to UK?
Yes, in 2 days I fly back to the UK, and then from London I'll go home. It takes me about 5 hours to the southwest of England, and I'll be there for 4 days. And then I fly to Greece, to Athens, to see my partner. And spend some time with her, and then back to the UK at the end of June, and then we'll see what happens next. And in September we plan to visit Finland together.
Okay. You've been before to Finland, right?
Yeah, I've been before, but my girlfriend hasn't, and she is also blind.
So I want to thank you about this great opportunity, interviewing you and being with you, inspiring me. So I'm the one here that wants to thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.